Well, while the community at large is voting for a president, um, I think today we're going to be talking instead about what happened yesterday, which was far more important, which was in 7 Day. This is Razzle. I'm joined by Shakezilla TV for episode 37 of the Prattlecast.
I have to say before we go into it, I loved the pause before president.
I was trying to find the nicest way I could put it, and that was the word that came to mind.
You know what? That's it. If president's the word we have to use, that's the word we'll use. But N7 Day was much more important, and I'm sorry we couldn't bring you a cast on the day of, but life finds a way to get in the way. But we've got it today. We've watched the trailer that was released yesterday.
Yeah.
And it has been broken down, too. So, what do you think of it, Razzle?
Well, let's see. The new trailer for, or really, I guess it's technically the second trailer they've given us, sort of. I mean, they had that teaser trailer back around one of those conferences where we saw the images and things, but it was very brief. And then we got that PS4 Pro ridiculous thing they did a couple of months ago.
Well, and we had the trailer from N7 Day last year, too. We had a different one. It wasn't really a trailer, though. It was more like a going off into space business. Like, it showed rockets launching and shit
I think
going on into space. That's what I remember seeing.
I think that's one that was narrated by Jennifer Hale or something, maybe.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what we've had. But getting to yesterday, with it being in 7 Day of 2016, this was the first time they really showed us something about the game that wasn't just, shilling out PS4 Pro devices. And I have to say, it looks really good. It's the first thing I've seen they've released that actually looks like Mass Effect, or it has that Mass Effect feeling to it. That's my initial thought.
Yeah, I have had I've been very reserved about the game, and I've been disappointed in what I've seen. But yeah, when this trailer first started, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm in Mass Effect. This is good. Like I felt much more grounded after it started. I was like, okay, you have me. I'm here. You've reeled me in.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how I was too. I mean, it also feels like it's more of a new agey take on Mass Effect 2. It feels sort of like the new Star Trek trailers that they would sometimes show in the theater, especially when you saw the interior shots of the ship and everything. So it looks like it's going to be, it's not going to be exactly like the old Mass Effect games,
which is good, I think.
Yes, it is good.
It's good to branch out. I mean, yes, we loved that universe, and it was a great place to be, but it's nice to see something different. And it does have to be in the future, just because of the line where he says, like, we slept for hundreds of years.
Yeah, they've confirmed that the characters here leave the galaxy that we know shortly after Mass Effect 2, but before Mass Effect 3, and then it's 600 years in the future, and they're coming to. So I guess they're waking out of stasis. Or
I wonder why they left, though. Do we know why they left?
I think it was to find a new home. I mean, it makes sense to put it in that timeline too. I wanted to add because here's the thing: they couldn't do anything post Mass Effect 3 because they really fucked the entire universe. They fucked everything up. So to take it back to Mass Effect 2, have them leave around that time before the entire galaxy just gets fucked. I mean, that's really their only option. And it's smart because it takes us out of the galaxy so we don't have to worry about the endings and we don't have to worry about all the stuff that I don't think anybody wants to dredge up anymore because we're all just done with it. And it gives us a fresh start. It gives us a new universe to explore. And I'm hoping they go back with that idea of exploration and that kind of feel to it.
Yeah, I mean, what was I just going to say? I had something to say until there was a cat in my face fucking screaming.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, it's like I can't make it stop, and I'm just going to break his neck soon. Jesus. Okay, you were talking about them leaving during Mass Effect 2. I had
Right.
something to follow up this shit with. Jesus.
Okay.
Fuck.
Well,
Oh, um, yeah. I think it's great that they left at the end of 2 because then we don't have to deal with all that Reaper business, which is when the planet went to shit, like all of them, like all of that whole galaxy went to hell. Um, but they said when they left, I mean, I don't know why they went into a stasis. Maybe just where they wanted to go was so far away that they had to.
yeah, I think
Like,
that's what it was.
but like, yeah, maybe they like plotted a course somewhere, and it was like, well, this is gonna take forever, so we gotta go to bed, or we'll die way before we get there. If they were asleep for that long, they've missed hundreds of years of like whatever political things have gone on since then. They don't know anything about the new galaxy they're in. And like, yeah, they wanted to go to a place where there was peace because they obviously had to leave for some reason, right? Wouldn't that be the start of when all that stuff was happening?
Well, what I know from for instance, the website, when you go to their website now, they have this recruitment video thing that plays.
I saw that.
And one of the things they talk about in the video is how there are about 3 or 4 of these big ships. One of them is the Hyperion, which you see in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And but basically, most of these ships carry only, I think, one alien species. Like, so I'm assuming one of them might have nothing but Solarians, which would make sense if we're talking about council races. So if you had like
Yeah.
4 ships, that would be all 4 of the council races.
Well,
So
you
you
have the
probably have,
Solarian, the Asari, humans, and was there Turians on that too?
yeah, they were on the council.
But wasn't there another group on the council?
No, it was Solarians and Turians at the very beginning of the first one, and then the humans kind of join afterward.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know why I thought there was one more. I think
No.
I was like overlapping my alien races from like Lilo and Stitch. Sorry.
What?
I was just picturing like an alien race. I'm like, what's that from? I'm like, oh, that's from Lilo and Stitch. I'm a child, so I got lost there for a minute.
Okay.
But we didn't see a single Turian in the trailer, which concerns me on a deep level.
Yeah, we didn't see any Turians. We saw the Solarians, the Asari, and the humans.
Well, we
But
just saw one Asari.
no, we saw 2 at least. We saw
What?
one that was in a scientist uniform on the
Oh,
bridge.
yes. Okay, no, that is the 2, because there's the one with the black across her eyes.
Yeah, I think
And
they
then
said her
there's the
name
other
was
one.
PB or something like that.
Phoebe, which I just want to call her Phoebe. Like, I'm going to call her Phoebe, if that's actually her name. I'm going to be like, oh, Phoebe, through the entire game. Which would be which would be interesting if that really is her name, because the Asari, that's a weird name for an Asari to have.
I guess. But no, one of the things they had on here was they were mentioning how whenever you go to a planet, I think it's going to work sort of like, well, you can choose which race can have the planet sort of thing. I'm kind of guessing on that. It's almost I maybe because I was playing Mafia 3 not too long ago, but I'm just kind of guessing in that direction based on some of the hints and clues. So they're talking about things like you'll have first contact scenarios and how to handle those, sort of like Star Trek-y stuff, which I'm all for. But it's really very much in that exploration vein. So you can go out there with the new Mako, and you can go ride around and see things and whatnot.
It's not even called the Mako anymore, thank God.
I don't know why you hate the Mako. The Mako was amazing.
We've talked about this a million times. The Mako is the worst vehicle to ever exist in a video game.
No, that's
Minus
not true.
the cars
no.
in Mafia.
No,
Like,
even
I did not like it.
No, I think the flying car thing, not the flying car, but the flying vehicle in part 3.
The hoverboard thing?
No, the thing for part 3, that ridiculous flying thing was just worse than the Mako. The Mako wasn't a bad vehicle. It's just that it takes time to learn how to use it with the gravity and stuff.
Maybe I was impatient.
Probably.
Because I'd be like using the little boosty boost and jump up in the air, and then all of a sudden I'm upside down.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that impatience has a lot to do with why people hate the Mako.
Well, I'm an impatient person. But the new one looks nice. I can't remember what they said its name was.
Dune Buggy. No, I don't know.
It's not Dune Buggy. How dare you? I don't know. But it's not going to be called the Mako anymore, so I get to stop feeling so traumatized. Because they brought up the Mako all the way through to the third game. And it just killed me every single time. So I'm happy that we're getting a change of name. Then again, we're hundreds of years in the future. Stop it. We don't do Makos anymore.
Yeah, those things died out a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
But
didn't they mention those things weren't used anymore by part 3 or something?
yeah, because I think, who is it? Freddie Prinze Jr. voices him. The big buff Mexican
Yeah.
kid. Because he was saying, he's like, oh yeah, I'll take the Mako any day. That thing's a tank. And they were like arguing. If you walk in on them at a certain time, they like argue about the Mako and which vehicle's actually better. But
Yeah.
but what you were saying about like the first contacts and stuff and like letting people take planets, I know we don't know if this is legitimate. But I would love it if that is a thing, because like to actually be able to colonize this new galaxy that you're in, which I'm sure already has other people in it. We know it does because there's like a new alien race that is here. But like if we get to like colonize these places and like like populate them and like make shit work, that'll be amazing. I
I mean, I
like
would
that a
assume
lot.
that's got to be a big part of it because, I mean, humanity's kind of coming into a new galaxy and, probably looking to set down some roots. And we probably get to shape how the old races, maybe even how they get territory. I mean, maybe that's the reason why they call us the Pathfinder. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Like, do you have any idea what it means that we're the Pathfinder? Is that just
I
like
assume it means that person is the leader of their particular ship, and by ship I mean those 4 big ones, like the Hyperion or whatever. Because they
Mhm.
mentioned that your father, Alec, will start off as the Pathfinder, and then later you become the Pathfinder. Now, how that happens, we don't know yet.
Daddy's gonna die?
A lot of people think so. I'm kind of curious. My original theory was that the dad was going to leave first, and then a couple of years later, the kids would leave looking for him, and they kind of arrive there probably shortly after he does in the future. And
Oh.
but I don't know now because now I'm kind of like, well, if they've only got these number of ships, then he's probably with them, and he probably does something, maybe sacrifices himself early on.
Well, he is wearing very different armor than they are. I don't know if that's because he is the Pathfinder, like if that's just his outfit that he has to wear, like as a leader, or if but he's dressed very differently than the rest of them.
Well, I
Like
think
he's
this is going to
wearing
be.
all that. He's wearing like the black and red. He looks like he's wearing the old outfits that we wore in the last games.
Well, I mean, they come from that same time period, so it would make
Right,
sense.
but the other people are wearing like all the whites and blues.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I think most of the people are going to be civilians. I don't think it's going to be a military mission. I think this is probably going to be more science and civilian based, like colonization and stuff.
So it's
So
just gonna be our like little squad that's supposed to keep everybody safe, probably.
I don't know, but one of the things they've talked about is how like both siblings are going to play a role in the game, regardless of which one you choose. And based on the trailer, I would assume it could have something to do with the beginning with the Hyperion. If it breaks apart, maybe your sibling stays with it and is going around doing stuff while you're kind of with another crew, maybe doing other stuff.
Because you do see them
So,
together sometimes, so you know that you're gonna cross paths with your sibling. And I like that we have that choice that like it's like you can be male or female, and you're also siblings. Like it's a family unit, and I like that. And I like that their stories are gonna kind of cross paths. And I'm wondering if things are going to be very different depending on which one you play.
well, to take it back to Dragon Age 2 for a quick minute, if you ever played Dragon Age 2, and you pick between 3 classes, and if you pick to play a warrior or a rogue class, then your sister Bethany will join you. So, in other words, at the beginning, some terrible things happen. You have a sister and a brother and a mother, and if you're a warrior or a rogue, then Bethany survives the encounter and she joins you because she's a mage. If you choose a mage, however, in that first scene, your brother will join you and Bethany dies. So, you have a different character with you in that story depending on what kind of class you pick. So
Yeah.
BioWare's kind of played with different things of that sort before, and also with even games like Fallout 4, where at the beginning you choose between being the husband or the wife character, and that both characters exist within that universe, but you're only playing as one of them.
Well, it also it makes me think of Chrono Cross, because in Chrono Cross it would be very dependent on how you played the game, like places you went first, people you spoke to first. You'd get different people in your party, and there were some people that you couldn't get at all if you didn't do certain things. or and you never knew how to get people. It just kind of happened. It would be like, oh, this person's here because you passed out in this place.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the idea that the story can change depending on which one I do, and I'm gonna have to play as both the brother and the sister.
Well, I think that's the only way to play. I mean, you gotta experience both characters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there'll be much of a difference between them other than probably some dialogue options and whatnot.
But I have to do it.
I know, Shay. And it gives people an excuse to replay it. So.
But they were saying in that video we watched that there's a chance we could be able to customize both of them anyway.
Yeah, and I think we will be able to. I think it was Mac Walters who recently said, I was trying to find the quote, so you unfortunately don't quote me on this, but I think he said you can at least customize the father character as well as your main character, and I assume that means you would be able to customize the sibling. For instance, in Fallout 4, to go back to that, I know these things aren't related, but in Fallout 4, you start off by choosing which character you want to be, but you can customize both of them. So you can change this one around, then pick the other one and change that one around and keep going back and forth, and they'll stay exactly how you have them look up until you hit start, and then the game starts, and they look exactly like you wanted them to both to look.
So they have said we'll be able to customize the dad?
That is, I believe, what he said. I can't find the exact quote.
Because
it was a part of this 101 question thing he did for Game Zone. Or wait, maybe it wasn't Game Zone. Let me make sure I'm giving you the right place here.
Well, because it would also be interesting if when we customized the siblings, it kind of generated how the dad would look in likeness to what you created for the siblings.
Game Informer, that's who did it. They just released this thing today, and it's like 101 questions. Most of them are silly and stupid, and but there are a couple in there, like Mac Walters mentions, there will not be Reapers, and
well, no
so.
it would be stupid if they put Reapers.
I agree, it would be
now.
stupid, but you never know sometimes. I mean, sometimes they might try to throw something in there, and but he said there were no Reapers. I was happy to hear that. I think Reapers need to just stay where they are, because they remind people of the ending. They remind people of Mass Effect 3's ending. Don't remind people of Mass Effect 3's ending.
I think I might be the only person that's okay with it.
With the ending?
Yeah, I was fine.
No, you're not the only person. There are plenty of people out there who are okay with it.
Okay, because it seems like everybody's upset about it, and I'm like, I'm okay. Like,
no, I'm upset about it because I care about storytelling.
Well, I care, but I guess I was just like.
No, I'm over it. Let me put it like that.
I
feel
just
like
accepted it.
I feel like they created a Mona Lisa and then took a big dump on it at the end. That's all I want to say about that. I don't want to go back into
Didn't
that.
they make another ending though?
They didn't make a new ending. What they did was they expanded the ending to try and explain a couple of the inconsistencies and a couple of the plot holes and such. And they also added some cool stuff at the end there, like you have a moment with your love interest in the last battle, which is neat.
Yes.
And that since we're talking about it, the other thing they mentioned was that if you have Mass Effect on 360, which I do, you can now play it on your Xbox One, because Xbox One has just made all three of them backwards compatible. They announced that on N7 Day. I am super excited. I feel like I'm going to have to stream all of those games probably after Harry Potter and such.
Yeah, I have all of them on PS3. I have the box set.
Oh,
but I actually have to rebuy them because the second game is missing.
Oh.
My favorite one is missing, and I don't know where it is. So I was like, because I opened it up, because I was like, oh, look at this, because it's like the fold-out box set. It's just pretty to look at. And,
no, I thought you said Part 3 was your favorite.
Well, I like Part 2 and Part 3. I kind of bounce back and forth between the two.
But definitely not Part 1.
No. I don't like Part 1. Like, Part 1's the only one that I won't do side missions. I won't do anything. I'm just like, let's finish this. And I don't romance anyone in the first game because my love interest isn't there.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of things that were very bare bones in the first one, but the first one for me just takes me back to that first time I played it. I remember, because I was one of those people who got this game early. I got it like a week before it released because of that whole Kmart thing where they released them early. And so I literally unlocked like that last achievement where you beat the game before the game launched. But I remember just huddling up inside of my bedroom and eating pizza rolls and playing Mass Effect 1. And I just played that thing all weekend until I beat it. It was just a magical time. It was
Oh, I
wonderful.
still play it. Like I'll still replay it. I just I don't get much enjoyment from it other than the main storyline. Like the other
I
two
would.
games, I like to explore. I like to do the side stuff. I like to go around and talk to everybody. But the first game, I'm like, nah.
No, I'm in somewhat of an agreement with you. I think that a lot of these side missions in part one were just kind of not only were they bare bones, but they weren't very interesting.
No.
They there were only like two of them that even had that morally gray area, and most of it was just so very obviously black and white throughout it all. But then again, there are some areas of it that I always love to play back, even if it has nothing to do with the story, like that one planet you go to where those bugs start coming out of the earth, and they just start like it's very much Starship Troopers like, because you've got this huge army of people with you, and you're shooting these bugs as they're attacking you, and you have to fix the guns in between each raid. Do you remember this mission?
I did not do the side missions in the first one.
Like the exploratory ones? Like this is one of those things you just
I
randomly.
did. I don't know. I did a couple of them. I don't remember that one though, because I've played it a bunch of times since then. But like I don't do them at all anymore when I play it.
Yeah.
So I
And
don't remember that one. I could have done it originally and just don't remember.
I also remember fighting that worm thing for the first time,
With
and
the
it was
big
just
worm?
scared me. Yeah, those
Yes,
things
I
scared
did
me.
that, and it killed me. It killed me a lot. I died
Yes.
repeatedly, and I was very frustrated.
In fact, one of my favorite parts of the trailer they released yesterday was that it happens about, I think, a minute and 12 seconds into the trailer. You see that over-the-shoulder shot it looks like it's right out of the gameplay, because that was really the only quote-unquote gameplay we saw in this trailer. And if it was gameplay, it looks really good, and it makes me
It
really
does.
excited about fighting huge creatures with my little rifle. So,
Yeah, because you look so small in comparison. If it is gameplay in that trailer, you look very small, and that's terrifying. Like, because you're that wasn't even a person. That was like an alien race. That wasn't a human in that suit. But it was like, you're an alien, and you're pretty big, but there's a giant wormy monster thing coming after you, and you're like, I'm just gonna shoot it with my gun. Like, I'm gonna be scared doing that stuff. I'm not ready for that.
oh, I'm ready.
You know what I just remembered too, because you brought up the first Mass Effect? Another thing I hated about it was how your squad was always dead. Always dead.
Oh, you mean they're always doing stupid shit?
They always just kill themselves, and then you're over trying to
Yeah.
find them and bring them back to life. I
Well,
remember
the thing is,
Garrus dying all the time, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. And it greatly improved in the second and third game by far, but the first
oh,
game they were always dead.
well, I think they wanted us to micromanage our squad mates in the first one so much.
It was too much though. Like you were barely doing anything because you're like, okay, you got to do this.
Yeah.
I need you to do this. You got to take care of this. Everything was much more streamlined after that. I think they realized that was a major flaw very quickly.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was, and they improved it. And what I've always said, with me, my favorite class was always the biotic. And now when I first played the game, I played soldier because I thought, I wasn't really into magic classes and stuff. And I played through the entire game, but when I replayed it, I wanted to try a different class. And I remember when I tried Biotic, and I could never go back to anything else. I just loved playing that Biotic character
What do you do?
so much. You have powers. Like you have that one power that you can just shoot like this energy wave through the earth that just rattles all the way down and just takes out an entire row of people. And now the only gun you really have is the pistol, but because you have all these other powers you're using, you rarely use it. And to me, it's just fun. I just enjoy doing that stuff. So,
I was always a soldier.
I was a soldier the first time, and I enjoyed playing a soldier. So
Yeah, that's just like what I've always known. Like I
you
wasn't.
should try something else, though.
I mean, I guess I should, huh?
I think you should try Biotic.
I think my first playthrough, I'll probably still be a soldier if we have those options.
Yeah, if we have the options, I'm definitely going Biotic.
Yeah, I think soldier's like the safe first round bet for me. Because like I know
fair.
I know it'll be fine. I know I'll get through it, and I know I'll like it. Second time around, I'll try Biotics if it's there as an option. I gotta play through the first 3 again now because it's coming out soon.
Oh,
But
yes.
they didn't give
yes.
an official date, so I'm still wary.
Well,
Because they said
they said-
early. They said spring.
Spring is what they're shooting for, but they
So-
could delay it. So
yeah. So I'm not like getting my hopes up, but I have to play through them again.
Oh, I am too. I'm definitely
Yeah.
playing through them again.
Right when I finish Mafia 2 and 3, it's Mass Effect now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I gotta give myself time. Like the year's almost over.
See, for me, it's right after Harry Potter, probably going into Mass Effect. Now that
Yeah.
they're on my Xbox One, I'm like, you know what? There's no reason not to do it now.
I just gotta rebuy them and then I'm good to go.
Now, something else they were talking about on N7 Day was the Jade Empire. It just, Jade Empire just kind of hits the news every few years,
I read
and it
that.
gets tossed
You posted
around.
it.
Yeah, and it always makes me a little angry because whenever I read anything about Jade Empire, it's always, so will you guys think about doing another Jade Empire? And then the answer is always like, well,
It's not completely
maybe.
out of the question.
It's not sort of out of the question. They've been saying that and remember, the first game came out in 2005, and it's 11 years ago now. And for some reason, I think it was this article that actually said this, and it really ticked me off. It said thankfully, they wanted to focus on these other two series. And one of them, of course, the sci-fi Mass Effect. I got no problem with that.
Please focus
But the
on
other
it.
one,
Please.
the other one, Dragon Age,
Uh,
their worst game ever.
mm.
I hate it. I hate Dragon Age. I fucking hate it.
Let's
I
remember, though,
especially
you
hate
like
it.
Dragon Age and Dragon Age 2.
What's that?
You don't like the Inquisition.
That's true. I hate Inquisition.
You like the other two.
I was okay with Dragon Age 2. It wasn't a great game, but I was okay with it. A lot of people hated it. I didn't hate it. I was okay with it. It was very simplified. Don't get me wrong. It's a very simple game. Part 1, the first time I played it, I loved it, but it just doesn't hold up well. I can't really
can't
replay
do
it.
it now. I've tried, and I can't. I can't play it. I want to play it. Like, I love the social interaction still. I love all of that, but I can't play it. Like, the combat in it really turns me off.
It's not like the Mass Effect or Jade Empire for me. It's just not a game I can go back to. But Jade Empire doesn't look likely ever, but they keep bringing it up to piss me off.
No matter what they say, it's probably not coming back.
It's really probably not.
It's just not going to happen.
Not. I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't even know if they could do it right. So, I mean, I don't even know.
They gave it so much downtime in between. Like, you waited 11. It's been 11 years.
Yeah. By the time they announce it, everybody's gonna be like, "What the hell is this?"
And you'll have like a group. You'll have an older generation that's like, "Oh my god!" But then everybody else is like, "What?"
Everybody be like, "Is this gonna be like Dragon Age?"
Yeah. There you go.
They made such stupid choices with Jade Empire. They released it on a dead console, right when the new one was launching.
Yeah, you had mentioned that.
Yeah, totally fucking stupid. Totally fucking stupid. I don't. Then they give Dragon Age a lot of love, but then they just tossed Jade Empire out there. It's their best, in my opinion, it's their best original IP. I even put it above Mass Effect in terms of an IP. Yeah. I love that game.
I know. I do have to get it. It's on my list.
But, it is what it is. I still love Mass Effect, but Jade Empire has a special place in my heart. And I remember buying that game and just thinking, wow, this is the first game in what is likely to be a huge franchise. And I'm here at the beginning. And here I am 11 years later.
Waiting.
That's the only game.
Just like, what the fuck?
Except for that mobile fucking thing.
Don't talk about anything mobile. Anything mobile, no.
And, I can't even go on their forums to bitch about it because they shut those down.
Maybe they're afraid of what people are going to think of the new Mass Effect universe.
I think they would have gotten some positive reactions out of this trailer, considering it's the first decent thing they've shown us about it. So
well, I do like that it's in a place that we know nothing about. Like,
yeah, I like that a lot.
We're kind of there's always something nice about being able to go to the planets you'd gone to before and feeling that nostalgia, but we got that for 3 games. They gave you, or they at least gave me, over 100 hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but if you're really playing Mass Effect, you're playing that for over 100 hours. I'm just saying, if you're playing them right, you're in there for a while. But, we've gotten to go to those places for all of that time, so it's nice to be somewhere where we don't know anything. It's really uncharted territory for both us and our characters, so we're pretty much on the same level as them, where we don't know what the hell's going on, they don't know what's going on. And I like that in the trailer, every monster I saw, some of them felt kind of familiar, but but everything's different. They're all new. It's new monsters.
And they have to do that.
Yeah, but we had 3 games where there was new things added, but things still felt I didn't feel like
still got to
there was
have
a
that
dramatic
Mass Effect
change.
feeling in it.
Yeah, but like I like that they're all new and they are a bit robot-y. There's a lot of robot-looking things, and I liked that in the video we watched where they talk about like are these organic? Like are these big things living or are they actually machines? Which I'm curious about because that would mean those are yet another new race of beings.
You never know.
And is it because the new race that we see in the trailer that seems to be like the ruling race of this universe? I mean, that's what I assume based on what I'm seeing is that they're like kind of the leading group, and they obviously have a leader who I think is marked by the halo on his head. He's got like a weird halo thing going on.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm like that's really distinctive, but okay.
I figured it was for like so his kids could play basketball whenever he turns his back to them.
Can't block those layups though. You just can't do it. But they seem really fascinated with the humans at least. They seem really fascinated with the humans, and you even hear I don't know who says it, but somebody says we're the aliens.
I think it's the male sibling who says it.
Because it's like I think that would mean like them, the Solarians, the Turians, all the people they brought, they're all considered aliens here, because none of them are from here, and whatever this race is really curious about them, but I think when we showed up, we started fucking up everything for them. I mean, you have to that's what happened, is that like we're fucking up all their shit.
I would assume they're going to be very nuanced about it, because I think what they're going to do is, show their side of it too, where, they're part of this, ecosystem in the Andromeda system or whatever, and suddenly these aliens show up and throw everything out of whack and maybe are really fucking things up for everybody else without really meaning to. Like if we're colonizing planets and things and we're taking away possible planets from them. So yeah, I mean it's
right, and they were rightfully there first. But maybe for a time in the beginning we don't even know that they're there.
All these questions. Ooh.
But I'm very curious because it looks like there's a couple new races, which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are going to be necessarily our friends. Especially that big one. They do look kind of like Turians, at least from the waist down. They have like that same structure, like with their legs and toes.
Yeah, they do.
It's a similar structure to the Turians, but I was like, those are not Turians. But I never had thought of the possibility of them being like the ancient Prothean aliens. Did you ever think of that?
Well, I mean, there was that one Prothean in part 3, but
It wasn't even real.
Yeah, he was.
Was he actually there though, or was it like the recordings?
No, he's the companion character.
Oh my God, Legion. Is that what you're talking about? Legion's not a Prothean.
No, I'm talking about the Prothean, the friend.
Who?
The companion.
We didn't have a Prothean friend.
Well, maybe he was a DLC companion. I don't remember, but he was in the game, so.
Okay, because I was like, I don't remember a Prothean. I need to get the DLCs.
Apparently, because that's a whole other world that you haven't even experienced.
I know, everyone's like, oh, have you done the Citadel with Garrus? And I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah, like, the Citadel, that's a fun DLC. But yeah, there was, I can't remember his name, but he was a Prothean.
Well, did that look at all like these guys?
I mean, not really, but I think these guys were wearing armor, so who knows?
Was it ugly? I just want to have pretty aliens. That's so much to ask.
I'm pretty sure there'll be some pretty aliens in there.
Because the Asari, I don't like the Asari.
I know you don't like the Asari.
I don't like the Asari.
And let me just bring this up one more time. I'm really upset with BioWare for not letting us play aliens. I am so upset with them.
Because there was a time when I had thought that maybe with the new with this game we'd get to pick an alien race, and I'm like, yeah, I can be a Turian. Finally, I can be a Turian. Or I was like, maybe I can be a Krogan. I could be anything I wanted. But no,
it was one of the most
human.
Requested things.
Yeah, I'm still a human being, and that sucks a little bit.
Even fucking Inquisition, as shitty a game as that is, it lets you play between 4 different races. So
yeah, I mean, I I don't know. Maybe it's just because when I play games, I like to step outside of myself
Yeah,
as much as possible. And
me too.
I really wanted to be something else entirely. Like, yeah, I'm a person. Like, I get to be another person and do cool stuff, but like, I want to be an alien. Like, that would have been really cool to like be that and experience that culture and all those dialogues and how that works. But now it's like, oh, I'm still just a fucking person. Great. This is
Yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah,
kind of disappointing.
I know a lot of people like to recreate themselves in the games, but I'm one of those people that's like, I want to be my exact opposite, or I just want to be somebody else entirely, because I'm thinking of it more like a story, and I'm not in the story, but I can at least embody personality elements of this character and just kind of move them about the world and live vicariously, because I don't want to be in the world. I just want to experience it almost like I'm watching a film, except the
Hmm.
main character is custom made to be someone who I know I'm going to like and just be like, yeah, this person's amazing.
See, I remember last time we had talked about this, or last time I even played this series, I was very much into just like putting myself in there. And I've noticed since then with other games I've played where like I have to make choices and do things like that. I don't want to do that anymore because I'm like, that's me though. Like I don't want to be me anymore. I was like, I need to envision this character differently. So I've noticed now, like since it's been a long time since I played Mass Effect, because last time I played it was when I streamed it forever, almost 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So since then, I no longer want to play that way of just like, hey, this I'm putting me in the game. I don't want to do that anymore. So I've found that I've veered away from that, and maybe some people never do step away from that, but I think
I
it gets
think
boring after a while. At least for me, I got bored of it finally. I'm just like I'm sick of doing that.
Well, I think the big moment for me when I became very aware of how differently I was playing these games came when I realized how few people did some of the things I did. Because the shepherd I created was not me in any way. I created a shepherd who was very much a pro humanity, uh, basically military grunt hardened soul who just hated and distrusted almost everyone except for those few who managed to just pry into his world, and but even having said that, he would not hesitate from doing whatever was necessary in order to get his mission accomplished. And one of the things I had him do, and apparently only 5% of the players ever to play this game did this,
Oh my
which
god.
which shocked me, but at the same time didn't, because I felt like a lot of people have trouble distancing themselves from their character. But I had no problem at all. But that was when I shot. Oh goodness, what was his name? Total mind blank
Rex?
here. No,
Okay.
no.
Because I know you can kill Rex.
Oh, I killed Rex. Don't get me wrong, but not in the
You
way you
son of
probably
a
think.
bitch.
I'll get into him in a second. I'm talking about
Okay.
the scientist,
Oh,
Mr. Morden.
yeah. Morden
Morden
Solus, you
Solus.
killed him?
Yeah, I did, and it was.
He
You know
killed
what?
himself in mine.
Well, in my character's view, he killed himself too, because I gave him very clear terms. I didn't want to do it. I did not want to shoot him. But then,
But what did he do? What did he do to get you to that point?
it was and it's been so long that I can barely remember. But I just remember coming to that point in the game, and he was very gung ho about wanting to do what he had to do, and I was letting him know, you can't do this because it's going to mess up what I need to do to save humanity. And but he wouldn't listen to me. He turned around, and the thing was, I hesitated. I hesitated, but then I shut my eyes and I pulled the trigger and I just let it
You
happen.
closed your eyes?
I had to shake because it was a hard moment. Like, even to this day, I think back on it like, God, I had to do it. It's not that I regret it. I don't regret doing it. It's just that it hurt having to do it because I felt like my shepherd was bearing the weight of the universe. And the same thing with Rex. Rex was the hardest one. I basically tricked Rex.
Wait, but did you okay, but with Rex, it wasn't on Vermeer, right?
No,
Oh my
no.
God.
Because here's the thing.
What did
Rex
you
was the
do?
first. Because, my character was such a pro-humanity guy in the first game. Well, Rex was that first alien who he really befriended. And he began to kind of open up and loosen his crazy views. And so Rex was his buddy. And so in part 3, he betrayed Rex. Well, not really betrayed him, but he led Rex on into thinking he was doing something that he wasn't actually doing, and he was actually pretty much, fucking over the entire planet for his own interests. And Rex later finds out about it, and he shows up at the Citadel with a gun. And there's this huge gun battle on the Citadel. And I don't know if you've ever experienced that scene or not, but
I have not.
It's a very intense scene, let me just tell you. But yeah, I killed Rex in a shootout. But the thing is, I feel like that's the way Rex would want to go out.
I mean, that's the only way for Rex to go out.
Yeah.
But I'm still mad at you that you did it.
I mean, you know what? I didn't do it though. Shepard did it.
I'm
mad
at you by extension.
I know that, but I'm just saying that you would be mad at me in the same way you'd be mad at a writer for killing a character you like.
It's just, but that was your decision, and you got to experience a part of the game that I didn't.
Exactly, and
so
what I'm saying
cool.
is that people who don't experience those parts of the game really do miss out on the full picture, because you will feel different types of emotions, especially if you feel like you have to play the type of character who has to make the decisions that hurt him personally, but help the universe.
Yeah, I find now that like I build a backstory, and I'm
do it all the time.
I'm like, this is who my character is, and this is what needs to be done. So I'm excited to be able to replay the series and do that, because I have never been able to do that with Mass Effect. I've always been so attached that it's going to be hard for me to do. And like, it's going to take me longer to make the decisions, because I have to really separate myself, and I'm not used to doing that.
Well, I also don't play like 100% Paragon or Renegade. Like, even when I was playing that character, who was my first character, I didn't do that either. I'd have him do whatever I felt like he would do. So if it happened to be Paragon, who cared? Renegade, who cared? I think there's some people who just try to go, I'm going to do 100% Renegade. I want to do 100% Paragon, and I don't feel like they get anything out of the game. They're just,
No, like you get those idiots who are like, I'm going to make all the bad decisions that nobody likes to make just to... Because I don't know. I hate when people do that, when they force themselves to play the game that way. Because then you're not really playing. You're just making the decisions to make them.
And like for me, it was always like every decision my character made, I really would sit there and think about it. And I'd put myself in his shoes, and I'd think about how he saw the universe and what he felt like he had to do. Because there were moments when I would go back to the ship, and I would just have Shepard go seal himself off into his room and not come out for hours. Like, I would have these moments in the game. So that's how I would play. I remember creating my backstory back in the old days before the game even launched. And like, I was creating these ideas of who this character was and thinking about, what type of personality they would have, what was their childhood like. And so like, I would just be creating this character before the game even launched. So that's how invested I was.
Well, I just, during all of this conversation, I looked up the killing of Morden to see what that situation was. And I remember this, but you did a renegade choice. In this. And what happens is Morden discovers that the Solarian want to sabotage the genophage cure for the Krogan. And he also realizes that you are okay with it, because if you don't do it, the Solarians will not help you in the war.
That's what it was.
Right,
I needed the Solarian help. I remember.
The Solarian said, like, oh, well, if you destroy it, we'll help you. If you decide to cure them, we're not going to assist you, because they believe the Krogan are a danger. And apparently Morden isn't shocked by it. He's just sad. And at that point, you can either you can talk him out of going up the tower. But accepting some specific circumstances, he doesn't listen to you. So from there, you can only let him proceed or shoot him. If you shoot him, he still goes to the top of the tower, but he does not have the strength to drag himself to the control console before he dies.
That's right. He's like reaching for it before he blacks out.
That is really...
It's one of the most amazing written death scenes I've ever seen in a video game. And you only experience that part of it because I know the other one's really emotional too. Don't get me wrong. Like the Paragon was just as emotional.
It was very sad because I love Morden.
When you feel like you were responsible for this guy dying, even though you have to justify it, and you're sitting there like, well, I had to do it. He wouldn't listen. And like, you're really fretting about it because you really liked this guy, but you had to do it. And that's a whole different type of emotion. And what I was going to say.
What? Well, because I was about to finish reading this, because when I read it, I can agree with your choice, especially because your character is very military and just wanted to do what he had to do. It says the Krogan are a very real threat, And if you support the Solarian government, it's critical to the cause, because sabotaging the cure, you get the aid of the Krogan who don't know that you sabotaged it, and the Solarians. It's a Machiavellian power play that's all too easy to see Shepard willing to make. The only question is, are you willing to kill one of the good guys to make it happen? And your character, with how you describe them, would be, because you're helping the cause much more. You're getting more done just by killing him. You get two groups on your side.
And, in a way, I created villains out of Anderson and the other guy.
Hackett?
Because Lance Henriksen's character, I can't remember his name.
Because I know there's Hackett and Anderson.
Hackett, that's who it was. I really created villains out of them because the way I played the character, they were basically relying on him to do the dirty stuff so that they didn't have to do it. If you really think about it, like they were like, send Shepard because Shepard will get it done. Shepard's the kind of guy that will shoot his friend in the back to make sure the mission gets accomplished. So, I mean, when you think about it like that, it kind of creates a whole different character out of Anderson and Hackett when you play that way. And the other thing I would say is I don't feel like BioWare did a good enough job in the trilogy of making your choices have weight in the latter portions. Like, I always thought it would be interesting if they twisted things around, whereas if you saved the what was the plant? What am I saying? Plant creature.
No, are you talking about the oh my god, the Rachni?
Yeah, the Rachni.
I love them.
See, I always thought it would be funny, and this is just my sense
of humor. I love
the
Rachni so much.
But I thought it would be funny if you save the Rachni, if in part 3 they come back to attack you. I thought that would be hilarious.
Well, because they come back and attack you in the you do have to fight them again though.
I know, which was stupid. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but you have to fight them whether or not you saved them or made them extinct. What I'm saying is, I think it would be funny if at the very end you're like losing this battle and you're like, oh, the Rachni are here, and there's like this triumphant music playing because you saved the Rachni, and then suddenly they turn around and start coming after you.
I'd be so angry after everything I did for them.
It would just be funny. But I know BioWare would never do it.
Did you choose to make them go extinct?
I did once, but I don't remember if that was my first playthrough or not.
Because they're a good asset in the war later on, but your character wouldn't know that initially.
Well, I remember in part 3 having to fight them, so I don't think it matters.
But then no, it doesn't matter. I think either way you still have to fight them again because you don't actually make them go extinct, regardless of which is stupid. But after you fight, because she's trapped, like she doesn't want to be there. They just like have the queen trapped in there. That's when you work with Grunt. And she says that she'll help your cause, and then the Rachni help build like the thing that I forget what you're building, the thing you're building in the third game, to destroy.
Yeah, but I mean that was just war asset stuff. Like that was just that stupid math thing.
I just wish it was better. Like they could have done better with things like that though.
The whole war assets thing in part 3 was just stupid. It was just so dumb.
Because it didn't really matter.
No, it didn't. It didn't matter how you played the game.
No matter what assets you had, like let's say you didn't get the Solarians, it doesn't matter. The ending's the same. Everything at the end of the game is going to be the same.
If you get a certain number, then you get, like, at the very end, you get that one breath from Shepard. So Shepard takes a breath.
Yeah, but for that, you need to play the online and get stuff from playing multiplayer. Like, you need to do a shit ton outside of the regular game to get that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of, you can get that through a heavy number of asset points even without the online, but it's not as easy as getting it with the online stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is with the whole war assets, it was just dumb. It was stupid. It wasn't very well thought out. And the only thing you get from it is a breath. And, it's not like Shepard's going to come back anyway.
No.
So,
I mean, it's a good idea. It just was implemented poorly. They could have done a lot with it. They could have made us feel like all of the decisions we were making meant more, but they didn't. So
no, it was just math. That was all it was. It was like, I've got to get these 25 assets.
It could be something that, like, if they brought that back for something, I would be okay with it if it was just more thought out. Like, I would want that. I think it's a good thing to have if it's much more thought out than what they had. I would like it at least.
Well, I don't mind continuing forward with Mass Effect, but I know that there are some other game stuff we wanted to talk about too.
I could talk about Mass Effect all day, so it's fine.
I know. That's why I figured we should maybe we need to just change a little bit here.
I know we've been on this for over an hour.
Because there's one game that I wanted
There's a game.
a couple of games I wanted to bring up, but one of them is a game that you just recently finished.
Okay.
Called Mafia 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Mafia.
So I'd like to start by saying I now have some distance from the game because I
Yeah.
think I'd already finished it when we did last week's podcast.
No, you hadn't.
No, I had to be near the end though, or something.
Um,
Well, I was playing it.
well, maybe.
I was still playing it, but I think like a day or two after that I finished it.
Yeah, you
And,
were at the very end.
yeah.
You were at the end.
And I've already started the second one, which I'll also talk about a little bit. So I've had some time to breathe from the game because I can say Mafia pisses me off. I really wanted to like it. I wanted to like it a lot. And you told me it would be a difficult journey to go on. You made that very clear, and I took your advice, and I was like, all right, I understand. I'm going to do it. And I realized walking in, I failed the first mission 4 times because the cars are undrivable. And I know they like to say that all these different cars, like at the end of the game, they're like, oh, thank you to all these people for letting us study your cars. You didn't study cars because all the cars are exactly the same. Some are a little bit faster, but all of them, depending on how the game feels, if you decide, oh, I'm just going to cut over this curbed area to get to this road, your car will either do it smoothly, spin out, or flip over. Depends on how the game feels. Whatever the game needs to do.
Yeah.
That got ridiculously annoying very quick, but I ended up just playing the gamble through half the game. Like, I'd just sit there, like, holding my breath, completely tensed up, because I would either be chasing someone or in a chase, and I'm like, I gotta just cut through the curb, man. And I'd just pray that nothing would happen.
I remember with the driving in the first Mafia game, I remember the first mission took me forever. And
It was bad.
I remember there was also a mission where you're racing cars. You, like, get a race car.
Yeah, so, okay. I decided I was going to be a good sport. I won't play games on easy because I'm a good sport. Like, even if I know I'm going to be really bad at it, like, I'll play it on normal, whatever. I'll do every game on normal. So we did the race on normal. I couldn't do it. Like, every turn I took, my car's spinning out, shit's going out of control, I'm getting pissed. So I tried it a couple times on normal. And then, like, I was like, well, maybe if I turn off, like, the damage thing, I'll be fine. No. So I just put it down to, there's easy and then there's very easy. And so I was like, we're putting it on very easy. And I still had the damage turned off. Very easy, I still didn't win. Because I can't drive the cars. I couldn't do it. I was like, all right. So then I'd put the damage on, and the cars are so stupid and very easy that they knock each other out. So I was like, perfect, I'm winning because I'm an asshole. And I felt so bad because I was streaming it, and I'm like, I had to do this. And everyone was understanding. They're like, no, it's okay. No judgment here. There's no judgment. It's fine. It's fine. This is Mafia. It's okay. And that was the only time I ever, like, that's the only time I got really, really frustrated with the cars was in the race because you're going so fast trying to take those corners and they don't operate like a real car would. It's like instant spin out constantly.
I remember that. I remember that
bad.
mission to this day because I remember how bad it was. So yeah.
That was not the worst mission I did though.
Oh no, not mine either.
There's one that stands out.
Now let me ask you before you talk about it, because I remember one mission. I didn't see you play this mission.
Okay.
But I remember there was a mission that takes place at night with barns on fire or something like that, and you're shooting people.
Is this the one where you are getting Sam from the top of a barn? You're rescuing him.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay, that took me an hour.
Yeah, that one was.
That one
hard.
was a little difficult. I really had to slow down and take my time with it because here's the thing: I fucked around with like the aim sensitivity because I'm not like amazing at shooters anyway. I'm just not like amazing at that stuff. So like I was fucking around with the sensitivity, thinking maybe that was my problem with the game. It's not. The game does not know how to aim. It doesn't matter what you do. It's a gamble whether or not you're actually aiming at somebody. But most of the time, you can be aiming right next to them and it will hit them. It's fine. Like, it works, I guess. The game's broken in that way. But I really had to take my time with that mission because, like, I kind of began to memorize where the people were after dying 7 times. But then, the thing that was frustrating, not just with that mission, but with other ones, is when you reach checkpoints, your health sits where it was at.
Yeah.
And there were more than one occasion where I would just be at a checkpoint for a mission, which at the checkpoints it saves the game, and I'm stuck with 11 health. Just like at the end of the game, I was stuck with 11 health. Like in that mission, after I found Sam, and I think Polly runs down to get the car. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna grab the car. Stay with him." So I'm up there with him, and then these guys pull up, and Sam's like, "Oh, that doesn't look like Polly." And it's like, no shit, it's police cars, you moron. But I have to shoot everybody from up there. They come in the building up the stairs. I died a bunch of times on that too. Just getting back was really difficult. That one took me a while, but I got through it.
Yeah.
That wasn't the worst one for me.
Okay.
The one when you have to go to it's when you're killing is it Morello's men? It's when you're working through.
Is that the one in the carport, or is it somewhere else?
Well, it's when you're going through killing all of Morello's men. This is the one when you go to a warehouse, a big it's by the water. You have to like unhitch these things to blow up this building door, and switch the track so you can get into where the guy is, because you have to chase him down in your car.
Yeah.
And then you chase him down to the place, your car kind of turns sideways, your guy gets out, and then you're shooting a bunch of dudes from behind your car. It starts off that way. And then you're just, I was walking through this big place trying to, because you have to go back there later to like put crates on a car and shit. Or before, I don't know, everything's a blur with that. But I'm walking through this huge place trying to find out where this guy is, because sometimes the game doesn't tell you where you need to go. It's just like, you're in this big area, fucking figure it out. And I'm like, okay, cool, we'll do that. But there's so many guys that I never made it to wherever I had to be. So I ended up just grabbing the car after I killed all the guys by the car and just driving. But then there's snipers on like these tall things that will kill you in one shot regardless of what your health is at 90% of the time. Which I guess makes sense. Like if they're boinking me in the head, like I'm dead. So like I did that a bunch of times, it didn't work. Got so frustrated I stopped playing. Picked it up another time. Did it for another hour. Still couldn't do it, so I shut the stream off. I was like, I'm not. And I did it off stream because I couldn't. I was so pissed and so angry. Because I couldn't figure it out. And I finally made it to like where you have to unhitch like the gas tank thing, switch the track, which took me forever to figure out that I had to switch the track it was on. God, what the fuck? Then when you open up the building to where the guy is, like that's a checkpoint. So I was like, okay, I can do this. But I only had 20 health, and there's 6 dudes in there with shotguns. So it took me about 6 tries to get through them. Because at first I ran around looking for a health pack in one of the buildings, because all the bad guys despawn at that point. So I'm like looking for one, and I couldn't find one. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. I guess this is it. So like I tried to kill them like 6 times, finally did. So then I get to the guy I'm supposed to kill who's in there, who's got a Tommy gun, kills me right away. So then I have to go through the process 7 more times just to get back to him. So then like I just peek out a little bit and go back just in time as he like unloads, and then as he's reloading I finally kill him. And then I was good. There's like a health pack right by his body, and I was good to go. Mission complete. No issues. But that one took me like days to do because I had to stop. I was so frustrated. This took me a couple hours. That was really bad. And I honestly, I don't even think it. I know the issue is just I just hate the way combat is set up in that game. It's really bad. And the shooting is really hard to do. And it doesn't feel right, because if I compare it to Mafia 2, like I can shoot the fuck out of people in Mafia 2. I can do that. That game's smooth. It's
yeah,
like
it was a
butter.
it was a big improvement. And we'll talk more about Mafia 2 when you finish it, because I can't say a lot of things about that one right now. But as far as Mafia 1,
the shooting in that game was really bad. Like I think that's one of the things that pissed me off the most about playing it, is just how bad and how hard it was to actually fight people.
Yeah, I mean, the mechanics were built for PC, and then they got ported over to console, and it was not ported very well at all. And so it's very clunky. But the thing I was remembering the most was when I played that game, which I guess I played this after KOTOR, because I think it was after KOTOR that this game came out. I remember being kind of just really excited about picking it up because, Mafia, it's a video game where you're in the Mafia. And then I take this thing home, and I remember being turned off by the main character, Tommy, almost right away because the character, and I'll tell you a couple of things I didn't like about him.
Oh, God.
Really, it was right from the start, though, with him sitting down, and right away you can tell you're going to be playing as essentially you're playing a rat. You're playing the guy who's snitching on all the other guys and going to turn them in. And then not only that, but you're also playing a guy who apparently can't follow directions very well, who has his own moral compass. For instance, he can't shoot women, and he can't shoot the consigliere because reasons. He just doesn't feel good about it.
It's my friend, though.
I know, after shooting thousands upon people who no doubt he worked with, but he has a problem with shooting Baldy. So
and the whore in the brothel. We can't shoot her because it's a friend of your girlfriend. Whoops. Yeah. She should find better friends.
So I did not like him. I did not like him at all. I remember just thinking, I bought this game so I could be in the fucking Mafia, and instead I'm the snitch.
Well, yeah, because, it's kind of burned into your head. I mean, if you watch the movies and everything, nobody likes a rat.
Yeah.
And you find out that that's what you are right away, and you're like, oh, fuck. And you know that you're going to be forced to play that out. So I'm like, oh, God damn it, I can't even do this the way I want to. I'm a shitbag. All right. I remember a line he said right in the beginning. It's after you do the taxi mission where you got to pick up Paulie and Sam. He's like, oh, yeah, I helped them out, but I could never work for them. He's like, what did he say? He's like, I'd rather like live long and be poor or something like that. He's like, rather than be rich and die young. But then 2 seconds later, he gets beat up by Morello's people, and he's like, you know what I always say? I'd rather die young and be rich. Like, he all of a sudden just shifts everything in his life. And he gets beat up and everything's over, and I'm like, Tommy, like, that made me hate him even more just from him saying that. I'm like, you have no fucking morals. You're so stupid.
At the time, I didn't really think about it much, but as I look back on the game, I always kind of say that I feel like in the end, Sam was the good guy. Sam was the one who was the most loyal person there in the whole fucking family.
He was.
And
he was.
And then you fucking shoot him, and I always hated that. Like, I hate that at the very end. I was like, this isn't right. Like, Sam should shoot you. Yeah. Sam needs to kill you because you're a piece of shit.
Well, because I think there's even a point when they're doing the whole diamond thing, where they said they were getting cigars, but it was diamonds. Sam's the only one who's like, well, we just have to trust him.
Yeah.
Whereas Paulie and Tommy are like, well, Paulie's crazy anyway, but I loved Paulie regardless.
I like Paulie.
Paulie's insane. He gets a pass. He can do whatever the fuck he's a nut job.
Well, Paulie was not a rat. He was a guy who saw an opportunity.
He's just an opportunist. He was a kid that grew up on the streets. They allude to the fact that he didn't have like a great childhood. He's just kind of out there. He's just doing what he needs to do. He doesn't care how he has to do it. That's just him. So I always really liked him. And there were times when I even thought he was going to turn on Tommy. And I'd be like, Paulie. But I never suspected Sam. Because Sam was just always so by the book, and he always just did what he had to do. He always had full faith and full trust in what he was doing. He never questioned their leader. And he was just like, no, he just, it's fine. Like, we don't need to go through the stuff. Like, it is what he says it is, and if he's not telling us for a reason. So I was upset about it. Although killing him just sucked to do. That was a shitty mission. That was a horrible time. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But they tried, I mean, at the end, Tommy tries to make Sam sound like he's crazy when he's not being crazy. Sam's living by the code and the life that he was raised to live, and he probably owes everything to Salieri. He probably owes his life and livelihood to him, and most of them do. And yeah, they got to do bad things, but like that's his life, and he lives by that code, and Tommy broke it.
But then Sam also had an answer for everything that Tommy raised. Like, Tommy was like, hey, did you know he was doing stuff on the side? And Sam's like, yeah, he told me. He fucking told me.
He just didn't want people to know till things were set, which is understandable.
He's the
you
boss.
know, in
He can
case
do that.
people. But there's also that risk of like, oh, if I let people know that like I'm getting these diamonds, other people could find out before I get there because there's always rats within your group. Hello, Tommy, how are you?
Exactly.
So that's why
Imagine
he
that.
kept it a goddamn secret.
Why would they not trust Tommy? Gee, I don't know. He failed to do 2 very important missions.
Mm-hmm. And then
I mean,
Sam's like, yeah, Tommy, we found out about Frank. And Tommy's like, how'd you know? And I'm like, Tommy, it's the fucking mob. Of course they know. You think people aren't going to talk about it? And you think this woman who's a whore, who lived in this brothel, it's the only job in life she's known, you thought she wasn't going to come back? Where the hell is she going to go? She has no other skills. Where's she going to go? She's got no money. She's got nothing. You gave her nothing. You just told her in the bathtub, get dressed and go. Where's she going to go? She's not going
yeah.
anywhere.
But you know what? Tommy got his just desserts from those Salieri guys at the end. So you know what? It worked out.
I'm a little irritated that he got to live that long. It bothered me that like we see him as an old man.
I kind of like the ending because it just shows that, you know what, if you're going to be a rat, they're going to find you eventually.
Yeah, it shows that you can't escape.
Takes forever.
You can't escape from the things that you've done because what he did was wrong. Yes, people can say that lifestyle is wrong, but you knew what you were getting into.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Immediately. I mean, and granted, not everything they were doing was wrong. I mean, I do think Salieri did have good intentions for the city, as I think most of them do.
Back then anyway.
Yeah, well, back then in those times, their intent was good. They thought they could do better than the government system was, and they did not like how they were doing things. So they're like, hey, we're going to take it into our own hands and protect people our way. And I think he had the best intentions. Yeah, they did bad things, but when Tommy gave them that ride and said he didn't want to work for them and he was never going to, he was like, oh, I'm never going to do that. All of a sudden, you're okay with it because you got beat up in the street? Like, they weren't going to come after you again. They just said, you know, they just gave him a warning from Morello. They would have never touched him again. He made a choice to go in there and be like, yeah, I want to work for you guys. And then he also chose to just treat everything like shit. Because he's the reason. I think Tommy is the sole reason that whole fucking thing, even before he ratted to the FBI or whatever, he was the reason everything was falling apart. I just feel like Tommy was a problem the entire time.
He kind of was, and that's what I'm saying is that it wasn't a joy to play him at all, and it's just one of those few times where I can't relate to the main character. I mean, if I buy a game called Mafia, I want to be in the fucking Mafia. And
right.
But
I want to feel I just want to feel like I'm a part of it, but you show me at the beginning that I'm not and that I'm shitting on everybody and everything I did, and that's not how I wanted to be.
Yeah, pretty much. There's actually one other game I want to touch in on today, but before we get to that, I do want to mention one other game really fast that I've been trying in my spare time, and it's a virtual reality game. And it's one of the most cool virtual reality games I've had a chance to play. It's not built for VR, but it's VR compatible. And it's called Euro Truck Simulator 2.
What are you doing with your life?
Listen, this game is incredible. Now, the actual gameplay is just kind of very simplistic. I mean, if you were to play this on a regular monitor, it probably isn't going to wow you unless you're really big into, like, semi-trucks and the idea of transporting
and simulators and shit like that.
Yeah. I mean, basically what you do in this game is you take cargo from one location and you drop it off at another. You take jobs independently. You can start your own trucking company if you get enough money. You can buy different trucks.
Do you just drive across the country?
Well, you're driving in Europe in this one. Now, there is also American Truck Simulator, which I haven't gotten yet, but I'll have to eventually. But I want to touch in on Euro Truck real fast because playing this game in VR is so cool. Like, you're sitting there and you're driving a truck from the actual seat. You got the wheel in front of you, and you're actually using the rear view mirrors to see things. So, like, if you're looking to pass, you check your rear view mirror, make sure nobody's coming, and then you flip on your blinker, you move into that lane. It's just so cool. You're taking I guess their version of the interstate or whatever, and going from place to place, paying at the toll booths. You go to gas stations to refill. You have a GPS that you can look at down to the right, so you can actually look at a GPS, and then you can also tap into you can put your you can put your MP3s in there, or you can tap into one of those internet radio stations, so you can hook it up for that.
Can you get Spotify on there?
I don't know because I haven't played around with it much, but I do know a lot of people listen to podcasts and things as they're driving
That'll
around.
be me. That'll be me. I'll have iTunes on there.
It has day-night cycles, and when it turns night, it is incredible because you've got like your headlights. Now, I hate driving at night, but in this game, I've got no problem because it's safe. You know, there's no danger, and I'm just sitting there chill with the nighttime sky, with my headlights, just driving around with my cargo. I was delivering cheese the other day to some place for some reason. It's just so cool. It's such a joy to play. It's a great stress reliever game. I
have some questions about it.
Okay, go right ahead. But I do want to touch in on one other game after this.
That's fine.
We'll go a little
because this actually it does interest me. The idea of this in VR interests me a lot, and maybe it's boring to some people, and I can see how some people wouldn't like it. But to me, but we like a lot of the same things, so I could see myself like sinking hours into this. So like you have a GPS, you have your rear view mirrors, you have all this stuff, you have to change lanes and all that. And I know you have to fill up the truck and stuff, which is so exciting just to think about. Like, I don't know why, that just makes me happy. Like, I'm like, yes, I can fill up my truck. And you have to pick up jobs. You can start your own business, right?
Yeah.
And have people working for you and all that?
I assume so. I haven't gotten to that part yet. I wonder
if there's like a hiring and firing system to that. Like, if you can monitor their jobs and how they're doing and things like that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, when you start the game, like you put in your name and you pick an avatar picture to represent you, and I don't think you get to pick your trucks in the beginning because you're working for other people, so you're kind of driving their trucks
just
and their loads.
Trucks.
And
Is it big ones like semi trucks?
Yeah, I mean they're basically semis, but they're European ones, so they're a little different than the American ones, which is why I'm also looking forward to playing American Truck Simulator. But in this one, but it's the interiors that look so cool. Like it's hard to put into words, but like you're looking up and you see the thing above you. You look off to your right, there's the chair right next to you. Everything is to scale too. And if you turn to the left and like stick your head out, you can actually go out. Like you'll stick your head outside of the
window.
The window. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And the audio around you changes, so it actually sounds like you can hear like the outside engine and stuff like that.
You get the wind and stuff too.
Yeah, I think you do. It's hard to describe. The only sound that sounds really weird is the horn. The horn sounds like there's some weird beeping in your ear. Like it's a very weird sound. This game wasn't made for VR,
and
but it's compatible.
They can't get it perfect. Like they'll figure it out.
But like you can be just like I remember I cussed at somebody for cutting me off the other day. Like
oh my God,
I was like,
you motherfucker!
What are you doing? Just because you get so invested in what you're doing, but it's a very fun game.
I want to get a road dog or a road cat or something, someone to bring with me on trips. Now, what I'm wondering is like, can you crash?
Yes.
Like, or will it just automatically bring you back on course if you mess up, or can you nick other cars?
Yeah, you can hit other cars. Like if you hit other cars, you like lose money off your job, and if you're like speeding, you can lose money. Because I guess if somebody reports you for speeding,
right.
But there's also a roadside type service thing you can call if you get stuck somewhere. Now I haven't had any actual crashes because like I said, if you're playing in a VR, you're pretty much to scale like you're driving. Now I'm not used to driving a semi, but I do it pretty liberally because I'm like, you don't have to worry about this isn't real, so I don't have to worry about hitting people.
Right.
But I've been pretty lucky with it. Like I've been pretty good about driving this huge fucking rig, something I would never drive in real life.
Oh no, I'm terrified driving past them. Like I get scared when I drive past them on the highway, so I wouldn't want to drive in one. Never. Now, can you do like cross country trips, or are the trips short?
At the beginning, the trips are shorter. I wouldn't say they're short, but they're shorter. And as you level up, you can like buy skills. Like they have like 6 or 7 different types of skills. One of them lets you use less gasoline as you drive. One of them will give you access to further distance jobs. Because I've been mostly doing jobs around France right now, but I'm looking forward to kind of branching out, maybe going to the UK.
Yeah, it would be cool to be able to drive like really long distances. And if it is to scale, and if it's accurate, like, something that would take you like 2 days trip.
I think you can like just free ride if you want. Granted, I mean, you'd have to buy gasoline and stuff, but you can just kind of drive. Like, and that's kind of what I just enjoy is just the idea of going out on the road without actually leaving and just driving, because it's just nice to hear the radio or hear your podcasts and just kind
Right,
of
without actually having to worry about being in your car wasting your gas.
Yeah, and see, I think it would be cool as a social app. So I wish it had like a co-op feature, so you could have somebody next to you and just chilling and talking and
Oh
driving.
my god, someone in the passenger seat just like running jobs with you.
Yeah, or just have like a multiplayer feature where you can like pass other truckers who are actually players. You can honk at them.
Or you can have like the CB, and you can
Yes, a
talk to
CB.
people. Yeah,
Actually, I
you
was
could
thinking
have the
about
you
that.
could have the CB. Like I could just like talk in and be like, "Hey, Razzle, you there?"
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I was thinking about just the other day. I was like, this thing had multiplayer. You could do like Breaker 19, Breaker 19, just like the old
Could
truckers.
be legit.
Yeah, that would be cool. But it's a single player game, but it's a great step toward what VR can do.
Yeah.
And for me, those are the most fun experiences for VR.
I gotta get my VR stuff so bad. I'm so angry. I want it.
One day, Shake.
Soon enough.
One day at a time.
I know. That sounds like a lot of fun, though.
As I hit that, the only other game I wanted to mention, because I just started playing them, is the Harry Potter series. I just finished Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and it holds up surprisingly well. It's not a game I've ever played before.
It looked good.
And somebody was in the chat the other day, and they told me that the PC and the console versions are different for the first 3 games. And so they said the PC one was a little bit more fleshed out than the consoles, and I can believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that the game is both forgiving and frustrating. Like some of the boss fights are really frustrating, especially the last 2. But then there's the flying mechanic, which is also frustrating. Took me forever to finish a game of Quidditch.
You said those were difficult. The broomstick challenges. You said
I did not like the broomstick stuff at all. But there are other parts of the game that I loved. I'm certainly enjoying what I've played so far of Chamber of Secrets, because I just started that one. But they're just fun little games. They do a good job of recreating Hogwarts. And, it's just nice to go to the school of witchcraft and wizardry at the old Hogwarts and just take a look around.
See, I had walked in on you playing on a part. I think you were in a class. You were what was it? Was it like an herbalism class or something?
With Philosopher's Stone, I think there's a herbology class.
Yeah, herbology. Yeah. And you had like this troll below you that you had to like have smash the thing, and it would hit itself in the face and die.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It would like pass out. And then you got stuck. You couldn't figure out what to do.
Yeah,
and
I was stuck for a bit.
Well, yeah, and I was looking at it, and it did look very frustrating. I was like, well, where does he go? I was like, and I'm trying to look where you're looking, and I'm like, I don't know. This all looks very weird. And it could just be because it's an older game, and it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't show you as well as newer games would.
Well, the camera system also kind of is just terrible, because you can't really see everything. That
did look horrible. There was a few times you were running into the camera, and you're like, how do I make this go behind? I can't see where I'm going.
And the worst thing with that is one of the final boss fights is you're facing off against Professor Quirrell, and he's got these 4 ghost dogs, and you can never see them when they get really close to you because of the camera. And so you're constantly having to run from them, and just like Mafia, it saves where your health's at, so you can't get more health. And so I was at that point where I have 3 or 4 hit points, and if I get hit 3 or 4 times, then I'm dead. And I've got to defeat all 4 ghost dogs, and then
there's no way to regenerate health. Like, how do you gain health in that game?
You get power ups, or you can pick up frogs in the first one. And
okay, I was wondering, is it like chocolate frogs that you have to eat or something?
Sort of. And also, if you collect cards, like the wizard cards, for every 10 of them, I think you get like an extra bar of health or an extra lever of health, which is kind of nice. Yeah. So it does pay off to collect those.
But getting that extra one, once you use it, is it gone forever, or do you have that permanently?
No, I mean, it can be refilled.
Okay.
But at that point in the game, I was down. I had 3 of those lever things. I had half of a lever. So it was 3 or 4 hit points, and then I would be dead. And the thing is, when you defeat a ghost dog, Quirrell will bring it back unless you can hit him in time. And he'll constantly try to do it, so you've got to position yourself to hit him while running away from these ghost dogs.
Yeah, the attack system seemed a little weird when I was watching it.
Yeah, it is.
It seemed like you have to be facing specifically right at that person where they're standing, and I can imagine if it's a moving target, it's a bit more difficult.
Yes.
Because if you say something's right in front of you, right, and after you cast something, it moves. That spell just keeps going in the one direction, right? It doesn't follow them.
No, they are homing spells.
Oh, okay.
So they do kind of lock on to some things if you're like facing them a certain way. Chamber of Secrets actually, at least, okay, so I played that one on Xbox. I'm playing Chamber on PS2, but apparently Chamber released before Philosopher's Stone
What?
because Philosopher's Stone came out on PS1, then Chamber came out on PS2, then they remade Philosopher's Stone on PS2 using assets from Chamber, so it actually came out a year after Chamber. Yeah, it's very confusing.
Okay.
I had somebody explaining it to me in the chat yesterday, but it makes sense. But I feel like the targeting system's actually better in Chamber than it was in Philosopher, but I don't know yet because it's still early on, and I'm a little bit worried about what the next boss fight's going to be. But one thing I'll say is there are also forgiving points where it gets a little too easy, and they do a little too much hand-holding, like
Well, it is.
the chess.
It was a kid's game.
I mean, I understand that, but
Right,
it goes
so
from
it's gonna
frustrating
have
to
that.
forgiving. And to give you an idea of the chess game in this Philosopher's Stone, you're not actually playing chess. Each character, like each, you start off with like 3 or 4 pieces of like chess pieces. They all move exactly the same. They can only move one place, any direction.
So it's not chess.
No.
Because if it was
wasn't
real chess, that'd be fun for me. I'd be like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, I was really excited. I was like, okay, I've got to figure this out. Then I came to realize, no, every character moves exactly the same.
It's more like a game of checkers, except any
It's
direction
very,
you want.
yeah, it's very similar to that. So I managed to outsmart the AI pretty easily because the AI kept doing stupid stuff. So, you know.
Could you choose your difficulty in the game, or is it just preset?
I think you could. I just didn't mess around with it. I just left whatever the fucking default was. And I'm glad I did because if those boss fights were any harder, then it would be impossible for me. But the other thing is that makes the other parts so easy. So it's not very well balanced, but it's still a fun game.
Yeah, when I saw a bit of you playing the second one last night.
Yeah, I know. I saw you in there.
Yeah, I was like in the shower, like watching from in the shower. It was a weird time I was going through. And the second game, maybe I was crazy. Did the first game look better than the second game?
Well, I think, again, that probably has something to do, well, 2 things. Firstly, Chamber came out first. Secondly, I'm playing Chamber on PS2, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Well, maybe. It just feels like it didn't look as good because everybody looked much more like everything looked very round in the first one, like all the people at least. Like everything looked very cartoony and things looked a little bit more squared off in the second game.
Could be. I really don't know. Like, to me, it actually looked better in some places, but maybe it looks worse in others.
I think I was just looking at like you were talking to somebody or something, and like I was looking at their face. I'm like, oh, that doesn't look as good as the other one. But I don't know.
But I am enjoying this game probably. So I mean, it's probably better than the other one so far, but it's still early. All I've done is I fought the Whomping Willow. That's the only boss fight I've had so far.
Was that one hard?
There's
that
sort
scared
of a
me in the
cheat
movie.
I discovered. Whereas if you run up to like the top left, he can't hit you.
Oh,
And
so you can
that's
just
what I
like
started
go
doing.
ham on him?
Yeah, like I just ran up to the top left while he's doing his hits, and then when he's done doing that, I run back, hit him twice, run back. So that's what I did to fight him.
You cheated.
Yeah, I did because I didn't
it's
see
okay.
a reason not to.
Yeah, if they leave a
developers.
cheating area open to you, use it.
I mean, if I discovered it, I didn't have any hints or anything. I just discovered that on my own, so I beat him in one try, and I was very excited about that.
But you haven't come across another one yet?
No other boss
I'm trying to
fights
remember
yet.
the Chamber of Secrets. I got to read the books again and watch the movies. Like seeing you play them makes me want to like dive back in. I'm like, please bring me back. Like I just want to get involved in it all over again. But the games actually look fun, considering how old they are too. They still look.
Oh, yeah.
They don't look bad. Like they look fun. But then again, I'm not very picky.
They're very video gamey, but I like it. So they're fun so far. I'm looking forward to playing through all of them. I'm hoping they only get better, but there's always that chance that they might get worse. So we'll
Weren't
see
you
what
saying
happens.
that they do get worse?
Oh, people are saying that?
No, didn't you say that?
I haven't played them, so I don't know.
I thought you said you had heard though that something happens after the first couple.
No, I haven't heard anything about the Harry Potter games.
Oh no, or was it that they were on PC and console for the first couple, or that there were changes? I feel like you just said this 5 minutes ago.
Well, I know that after Part 4 they went to like last gen, so that's when they go from PS2 to PS3 or Xbox to Xbox 360. So after Part 4 they finally were on the newer consoles at
I
the
wonder
time.
if that brings a big improvement to the game.
It
I mean,
might
it's
bring
going to be more
improvements.
towards this time, so like it'll be more familiar for you,
But
probably.
granted, I like the earlier films better than I like the latter films, so I don't
Same.
know. I mean, the latter films to me just felt like they were a little. I feel like they get this point after Goblet where everything's all about, hey, let's go fight the big evil and let's make
After that,
everything
isn't
about
it
that.
all about getting all the Horcruxes?
Yeah, I mean the Horcruxes thing. I think that starts with the final book. If I may be
Because I know
remembering
the
this
last
wrong.
movie is like broken up into the last book in the movie version's broken up into parts. Because I did
Yeah.
not. I think I watched the last movie, but I skipped a couple of the movies. Like I didn't even see them. I haven't watched all the movies.
Well, the thing is, like the first four
I
each
saw those
feel
ones.
like decent off stories all by themselves. They have more adventure. They're
And they're
very.
very good adaptations of the books. If you're someone
Oh
who's
yeah,
read them, they're very good adaptations of the books.
I hear that too.
Yeah.
And
They're
then
pretty close.
there's the other one, the last four movies, which are the last three books. To me, the whole atmosphere changes. Like it's no longer about the wonder and magic. Now it's about everything. It's darker. And I think they even said this when they were making the movie. They consciously made the colors like they would make it more and more, or they would
Wasn't
remove more
everything
and more of
like
the color.
shades of gray? I remember a
Yeah,
lot of
so
gray.
because that's what happened. Like they removed more and more of the color from the movies as it went on. Like I forgot the technical term, but basically where
But they were
you turn
draining
down
color
the scale
from it every time. Like, oh, we're just gonna.
every time, and the whole mood also changes where it feels. Don't get me wrong, they're not bad. They're not bad movies, but compared to the other four, I feel like after part four, they just start going in a whole different direction.
Well, and
And
the thing is, I think with the first four, they were able to keep it like they were fun. Like it was fun and everything was, you were still like learning new things. Things were still about magic, but you still had the action. You still had the evil and the bad things and those action sequences. I felt that that after the fourth one, it leaned heavy on like the dark drama and
yeah,
lots of action sequences.
that's pretty much.
Like I think I know I saw the last movie and it was just like nonstop the entire time. I was just like, what the fuck's going on? Like it didn't stop. And I mean, I know when you read a book things are different. It was much more slowed down. I just feel like it was very dramatic and it was just action sequence after action sequence. And I feel like they kind of like, and I know like a lot of bad things happen and there's a lot of big bad things that are going on. We're wrapping up a story, we're wrapping up a universe. But I just feel like they took everything else out and just were like, yeah, we're just going to give you lots of action and drama and darkness.
Yeah, pretty much.
And like the first four movies were really fun. The first one especially was wicked fun. That was a fun movie.
Yeah, I think out of the movies, part four was probably my favorite out of them.
I want to do the Goblet. I think we could do it. I mean, I think Harry cheats, but I was never a fan of Harry Potter as a character. I never liked his character. Which is, I mean, I know I'm not alone in that. I've met other people who also don't like Harry Potter. Like, I love everybody else.
Yeah,
But I never liked Harry as a character. Like, he's just a fucking baby. The whole time I'm like, you don't deserve anything. Stop. Like, he's the boy who lives, so he's special. But I'm like, you're nothing. Like, you just get babied and coddled through everything. Like, you're not important. Like, Hermione's the shit. Like, let's follow this girl around. I want to know what she does with her life. Like, even Ron, like, I loved him even though he's a hot mess. But Harry? No. Not about you. What, are you a fan of Harry Potter?
No, not the character. No, not really. Not the character, no.
Well, I don't like Daniel Radcliffe that much. I mean, I think he was perfect for Harry. Like, he's the perfect Harry Potter. I'll give him that. Because you just don't like Harry Potter. But I wasn't a fan of him. But we're at an hour and a half now, just about.
Yep. That's all I had.
We're coming up. I mean, I've got a million things here, but we gotta stop.
Yeah.
We've done a lot today, guys. Again, I apologize. We didn't have anything on N7 day, but it happens sometimes. Deal with it. Just go fuck yourself. We figured it out. We're here. We brought you something. Just accept us for what we are. We're people. And we brought you good stuff today. You can email us at theprattlecast@gmail.com. Leave us a message at speakpipe.com/theprattlecast, which I found you can just say / and people automatically know it's /. If you say, you need to say / if it's / I found that out today. So I can do that from now on. All the episodes are uploaded on YouTube. The Twitter handle is the same. It's at the Prattlecast. Our personal handles are at ShakeZillaTV and at Razzle_Dazzles. We stream together every Friday or Saturday at about 7 p.m. This week we are doing, we'll be here Friday at 7, and we're doing Gat Out of Hell.
Yes, I think that's what we're doing.
Yes, because we this past week we finished Gears of War and Saints Row. So Saints Row 4 and Gears of War 4. So now we're doing Gat Out of Hell, and then we will be on to other things. I'll be finishing Mafia 2 this week, so next week we'll be able to discuss that game and how wonderful it is. I'm excited to see where the story goes because I'm so in love with it. Razzle will be streaming the Harry Potter games when he can, so you can figure out when he's live on the Twitterverse, and same with me. I'm here all the time. But that's all we got for you guys. Be nice to each other. See you next week.